I'm Melanie, by the way. I live in Minneapolis. I'm the long-distance member of Living Waters. My son and I, Emerson on the end, and then Heather and Tim and Carla and her mom, Helen, are also long-distance members of Living Waters. They live in Texas. So this is our group that we're down in Guatemala this year. Oh, other way. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a couple of the things that I worked on. This year I was in the donation center, which I had not done before. And this is where all the kids in the GIFTS program, a partner group that we work with, the sponsorship kids that go to school, we sponsor kids through Living the Waters, and many of the members here also have kids that they sponsor. But we set up a donation center that has clothes and items that the kids that go to school from the sponsorship program can come in, and they get a pair of pants, a t-shirt, a jacket or a sweater of some sort, and then some underwear and socks, and they get a bar of soap this year. That was the other thing. Little thing about the soap, we found out, we always talk to the foundation, the ladies of foundation that we work with there, and ask what they need, what the kids need. One of the things that they mentioned was that because of the economy and it's just been really difficult getting groceries and supplies for the household, that the moms have been buying, they need the laundry soap, and it's a soap, so they just buy laundry soap, but then that's what they also use to bathe the kids and the babies, which it's a little bit harsh. So they have a lot of rashes and things like that. So they said, if you could just give us some bars of soap that the kids could use, that would be much better than the laundry soap. So we bought boxes of soap, and then they all got soap this year as well. This is how we get so you guys all donated. Thank you very much for your donations of clothes. We pretty much cleaned out the basement this year, so we will be asking throughout the year as your kids are going to school and there's school sales, or if you're hand-me-downs, whatever, we will need jeans primarily, t-shirts, zipper or button-down jackets, lightweight jackets. Those are the top 3 items. So going forward, we will publish a list later in the year with more specifics, but if you see those 3 things, rummage sales, hand-me-downs, anything, please bring them to the church here. We store them in the basement until we need them next year. So this is how we package them. We do it by size. Everybody brings 2 big suitcases, 50 pounds. We ended up, I think, with 38 suitcases that we unpacked and put in the donation center this year. So this is what it looks like with the kids all coming in. The gifts program, the first 2 days, those kids come through, they get a ticket, they come by themselves, they come with their moms, but the moms have to sit in the community center, and the kids get to go in by themselves, and the ladies help them. They pick out their own t-shirt, their pants, their jackets, their underwear. A little bit of a funny story with the underwear this year. So we know we get a lot of wonderful donations. We ask for new clean underwear, bras and underpants and panties and all that kind of stuff. And the boys, note to self, I'd not done this before, so it was so cute, the boxer briefs. They were the superhero ones went first. All the Superman and the Batman ones, they went right away. The older boys obviously didn't want the superhero ones, but they were pretty cute. Nobody wanted the tighty whities. They just wanted the boxer briefs. So if you see them on sale, maybe grab them. And the girls, of course, we had, the white and cream bras, which had a whole bunch. Nope, the cute little hot pink lace ones, and so all the wild lace ones, those were the ones the girls wanted. So we had a good giggle over that, but they were so cute because they got to pick it all themselves, and they were so proud of the little packages they got. And it's the best place to work because we constantly get hugs, which is awesome. And let's see what else I have here. Yep, and so we restock. The last day, they have a different ticket, and the most needy families are allowed to come through, so the moms with little ones, and that was kind of probably the hardest to watch because a lot of the clothes had been picked through, but they were just happy to get anything, and they got t-shirts and socks and pants again, but they would come with 3 kids, and each child would get one thing because they only could take like a t-shirt, a pants, and a jacket kind of thing. So they each got one thing, and the kids were so excited, and it was fun to help them pick out their t-shirt because we get lots of varieties. And then the image on this side is at the end of the day. We had empty baskets all the way around. All right, let's see what we got here. So the other project I worked on was the food donation. And for the food donations, Tim went early with the early group, and they go down and they buy in bulk sugar, corn, black beans, rice, and then they buy dry goods like pasta, ramen, coffee, and then they also buy laundry detergent and vitamins. And this is what would be considered about a month's supply for a family. And we package this all out. It comes in like 100-pound bags. So then we divvy it out into like 3-4 pounds of, I think it was 10 pounds of sugar and 3 pounds of rice and beans. And corn was 3 pounds, but it was a bigger bag. So you can see us packing, and we get all this bags, and then the families are given tickets again to come and receive their donations. And I'm going to just step down and show you what this looks like. So this is the bag, and they literally come and package this and put it on their head. I'm not going to do that. But they all come with their fabric. They have a square of fabric. And this is what this looks like. I did this morning. I spent $62.55. And it's close, I think. But you get a bottle of oil. This is a month supply of what they're going to use. This is staples. There's no protein in this. It's oil. We have a thing of sugar. We give them the sugar because the mothers told us that when they are running low and the kids are hungry, they can make sugar water and feed it and let the kids drink sugar water, and it holds them off until they can get the next meal. So there's more sugar than anything in this package, which is probably the hardest thing to swallow. 3 pounds of beans, 3 pounds of rice. This is only half of what I couldn't find corn, so I did beans, but this is about half of what they get in the corn. And then that's what they make their tortillas out of. A couple bags of pasta, a couple bags of ramen, again, all dry goods. As a treat, we give coffee, instant coffee for the parents, and then they get, it's actually a powder bag of, similar to this, of laundry detergent, and we gave them vitamins this year for the kids as well. So that all gets put in this bag, and actually it's very well packaged. It's 2 big bags, and I did not able, but then they come in with their cloth, and we just tie it up. Thank you, Kate, for the nice cloth, but theirs are cuter. They don't have roosters. And they tie it up really tight, and then they just whip this baby up on their head. And any of you can come and lift this, but it's probably about 35, 40 pounds, I think. And Tim and the guys carried the bags for the older ladies, because there were ladies that were, and elderly men that came, and they were probably in their 60s and 70s and just tiny little frail people. This is the group that comes. They come early. They are all given tickets. They are all guaranteed. We make 200 packages. Those ladies know exactly what to buy and how much, and we made 200 packages. They gave out 200 tickets. Everybody was guaranteed. They came an hour and a half early because they don't trust that they're going to get it. The government has had donations before, and they come and then they're out and they don't get it. So even though they were guaranteed, they still came early. And this is Carla and her mom were helping to give out, and these are some of the people that got the bags. So that's our food donation. Thank you for your donations of funds. That's what that goes to. Again, it cost me $62, but I think it's probably, $30? So every donation of $30 gets a bag of groceries. And then we have our kids. This is my favorite part. So we, as a church, sponsor Freddie and Lady. Both have graduated high school. They're wonderful human beings. I love them both dearly. And Freddie, actually, I almost didn't recognize him. He's such a man. I mean, he's a dad. He has a 1-year-old, Jonathan, and Naomi is his wife. And he works at a hardware store in the village. He comes every year to see us. And Jonathan did not like to be held. He cried and screamed. And Naomi came to the donation center on Tuesday, I think. And so it was so cute because she just literally handed him to me so she could shop her clothes. And he did not like it. I held that baby. He screamed bloody murder for 20 minutes while his mother shopped. But she just went about her business, and I did all the rocking and whatever. It was fun. So he's doing well, and it's always a pleasure to see him. And he sends his greetings to all of you, and he knows that we pray for him. He knows he has a whole lot of people praying on him and his family, and he has a lovely family. And then we have Lady, and Lady also graduated. Still hoping, I think, to do school later. Her mom has been very, very ill, so she, as the eldest daughter, had to take on the responsibility of caring for their home. And so the donations we sent for her mom's medical care, they are getting treatment, and those funds are going to pay for the the medicines and things that she needs for that treatment. So that is in process. As far as the last time we heard, they had gotten the diagnosis and treatment was started, and the medicines are being provided for her. So the picture over here is her sister Jessica and her sister Miriam, who I am sponsoring now, so she can go to school, at least the last 4 years of her school. And then the one below shows Myra, her sister-in-law. Her brother Juan Carlos and his wife Myra have Kylie, Madeline, and then this year they had baby, this way, baby Melanie. There. They had baby Melanie. So I was not aware they had named her after me. But Myra brought her to the donation center the first day, handed her to me, and I was oohing and ahhing. She's a beautiful baby. And then Lisa had asked what they named her, and she pointed to my name tag. And to say I was a puddle would be an understatement. It was pretty wonderful. So you have to understand how wonderful it is for us that you sponsor us to go there and travel and on your behalf love on these kids. They are our family. You are part of their family. And the relationships we build over these years, we've been going since 2017. And these are very important relationships to them. They can't wait to see us every year. Even the ones that can't go, those of you that sponsor kids and just send your letters, they wait for those letters. They wait for those little packages that come with us. So please continue to pray for them. Know that they love you and that they enjoy hearing about all of you and everybody that comes. And if you have on your heart to sponsor, please talk to Tim or Gretchen or myself. The Gifts program is a wonderful program to sponsor kids through, and it's a really it affects the rest of your life. So, and now I have a baby named after me. So, next, Heather. Oh, I'm sorry. So my son Emerson goes with us, and he's 25. And I told Tim, I said he got his first real job. Very exciting. Graduated college in December, got his first real job in May, and as part of the interview process, I'm like, I maybe wouldn't lead with this, but he said, I have a week in July that I take off. I need off. And he hadn't even gotten the job yet. And he said, I just want to be up front. I have a week in July that I have to take off. And he's like, oh, and he said, I have a mission trip in Guatemala. And the gentleman was like, okay. And he called. Anyway, he got the job. And he said, just so, again, I have a week in July that I need off. So he did, he comes with us every year. It's great. He has a little boy that's named Emerson that follows him around and had actually an argument with his mother this year because he's 8. He's kind of feisty. And he argued with his mother that he did not want to go to school during this week because he wanted to go with Emerson to build the roofs. And then on the last 2 days, they did cement floors. So Emerson and his crew went to get their rubber boots and all the gear for the cement floors, and off his mother went to get rubber boots for little Emerson so he could go along and do the cement. So they all had their rubber boots on. It was pretty cute. So it's a joy to take him with, and we have a great week when we're there. And as far as young people, if there's anyone, we need more strong young people to go with us. We would love to have you. It is a great experience for them, and you can see the growth and the maturity as they experience, a third world and see the poverty and understand that everything we have here is a huge privilege, and you appreciate what you have, but you also appreciate that you don't need it. So, thank you.
Anyway, I'm Heather. This is my first year going to Guatemala with the church. I just have some pictures going. I worked on a bunk bed team and VBS, so those will just go behind me as I talk for a little bit. Most of the team arrived in Guatemala on Saturday, and we got situated at the hotel. Some people went ahead and set things up, as Melanie mentioned, getting supplies for the groups. On Saturday, there was a huge welcoming party at the community center, live drums playing, very loud, and when they were done, they had loud music playing the whole time. There was a lot of dancing, and we had a great hot meal together that they provided for us. On Monday, we split into work teams for missions projects. Some people built water tanks, others worked on replacing roofs, several worked on organizing donations of clothing, like Melanie, and shoes for children going back to school, and a few people mixed and poured concrete floors for houses, like Emerson. And I got to build bunk beds and help out with Vacation Bible School. These are supposed to keep going. If you want to just flip through these as I talk, Paul. I got to visit with the children, and we did Vacation Bible School for the children with Santa Maria de Jesus. Not everything goes as planned on missions trips, because people make plans and then God makes plans. So, when the bunk beds teams got together at the community center, we realized that one of the team leaders was sick, and so they didn't really have a plan at that point. So we waited there for a while, and they divided us into new teams to go to different houses. One of the families that was supposed to be there wasn't home when the group arrived to build a bunk bed, but God works things out for the good of those who love him. The first day, my team assembled 3 bunk beds. These children were previously sleeping on floors or often sharing one mattress with the whole family. Their new bunk beds are made of solid wood and have thick mattresses stuffed with feathers. The wood is cut in Guatemala with local suppliers, and the mattresses are stuffed through local suppliers also. And a contributing family in Pennsylvania, or contributing church from Pennsylvania, provides a handmade quilt and stuffed bears for each bunk bed. We don't just go into the houses and build the bunk beds and leave. We arrive, we pray over the family and the materials that they go together well, which didn't always happen, but it always worked out by the end of the week. We got to play with the children, which often involved coloring on their floors with the coloring books we brought and the coloring and the crayons. Before we left, we would ask the mother if there was anything we could pray for the family about, and we'd close with praying for the family and saying the Lord's Prayer in Spanish. Thank you to Maestra Felicia, who taught us a lot of Spanish and the words of the Lord's Prayer that we practice every lesson before we start. By the end of the week, we had built 30 bunk beds for kids. Some families had 3 kids, some families had 8 kids. We'd still just build the 1 bunk bed per family, but they were always so grateful. After the morning work, we went back to the community center and had lunch with all the volunteers and regrouped. In the afternoons, I helped out with Vacation Bible School. Throughout the week, we talked about superheroes of the Bible. We sang a song, Jesus es mi superhero. It says, Jesus is my superhero. And the kids would be jumping up and down. There's a lot more verses that I didn't understand, but the kids loved it. A native speaker would tell the stories of Noah, David and Goliath, and Esther the days we were there. We had craft projects every day. At the beginning of the week, we had plenty. By the end of the week, we would run out, but the kids were always so grateful. We'd have like a coloring page or something else they could do that day, or a bracelet they could make. The first day, we had about 100 kids. By the last day, we had about 185 kids that were learning about the good news of Jesus Christ. Thursday morning, most of the bunk beds had been built, so the group stayed at the community center to assemble bags of food for poor families in the community. Melanie touched on this a lot. We put together the 200 bags of food, and the families came to pick them up the next day. On Friday, we went with a group to visit shut-ins to pray with them. One lady we saw is a grandmother living with her grandson, who is around 12 years old. She has a wounded leg and has been in bed for about a month. It's just a wound it was about this big on her leg, but she couldn't walk. They don't have wheelchairs or crutches that they can just rent like we do. So she was bound in bed, and her grandson came in, and I recognized him from Vacation Bible School. He was the sole caregiver for her. So if he had to go to school, she was alone, and he had a responsibility of the whole family just on him while she was, I don't know if she's out of bed by now or not, but another lady Another lady we went to see has been battling cancer. She had her head covering on, lost her hair. I don't know about her treatments, but she's there trusting God, and we were praying over her. We went to another house where there was a grandfather who, his legs were so weak he couldn't walk. He couldn't support himself at all on his legs, so anytime he had to move from place to place, his family would have to pick him up and transport him wherever he needed to go. So we just prayed with those families and tried to encourage them as much as we could with our limited Spanish, but they were so grateful that we were there to support them. Friday afternoon, there was a big closing party for all of us with a lot of dancing, gift giving, and tears when it was time to say goodbye. I couldn't talk about you today without sharing about a very special story. I mentioned a family not being home when the group went to build a bunk bed on that first day. Well, my group went back that next Tuesday, and there was a mom there with 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys. Once the bunk bed building was underway, I began coloring with 2 of the children, and once the bed was built, we took a picture with the family and met the family's pet bird. As we were leaving the house, the younger daughter asked if she could come with us. Her mom said yes. The girl had been to Vacation Bible School the day before, so we knew she could get home. As we were walking down the street to the next house, I felt her little hand reach out for mine. In my limited Spanish, I asked her name. Thanks, Phyllis, for allowing me to be able to have this conversation with her all week. Her name is Chelsea, and I introduced myself. I asked her favorite color, which is red. At the next house, Chelsea helped hold screws. We would say, "Dos más tornillos, por favor?" 2 more screws, please? And she would come running and bring them with a smile on her face. That night I talked to Lisa, the Moving Mountains coordinator, about possibly sponsoring Chelsea. She said a lot of children are not on the list, and she would have to look into it. The next day, Chelsea was at the community center with me she was there when my group arrived. Most kids are in school this time, but apparently this week, Chelsea didn't have school. The teachers were taking a break, or however it works. So she got to come with us again. At VBS that afternoon, Chelsea asked me a question that I didn't completely understand, but it ended in madrina, which madre is mother. So I'm like, okay, I bet that means godmother. So she was asking me to be her godmother. I don't know much Spanish, but God knew to translate that in my head. So we went to someone else who spoke more Spanish than me, and she translated that I wanted to be her sponsor, but we weren't sure about the details yet. We found out the next day that she was in the program and did need a sponsor. I was not even supposed to be on the team that went to her house, but God has bigger plans than what people can put together. Chelsea was my shadow all week. She is a great helper. At the community center, she was always right next to me. And Chelsea and her friend Natalie braided my hair, as you see up there. And on Friday, Chelsea's mom and Sylvia, her mom's name is Sylvia, and her sister Yasmin came and gave me presents before I left. They gave me presents. I was able to leave money at the community center for groceries for them. And just a little bit about Chelsea, she's 12 years old, but she only weighs 65 pounds. She will eat but not gain weight. Parasites are often the cause of this, but they weren't sure because she hasn't been able to get a doctor or get treatment. Chelsea likes school and wants to be a teacher when she grows up. I not only got to meet Chelsea in Guatemala, but I get to communicate with her with WhatsApp. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but it's an app that can go through different countries. You don't have the phone bill that gets extravagant like that. So we send pictures back and forth and text. She's even sent me videos, and some random days she calls me and we talk in our limited Spanish and English and talk to each other. Chelsea chose me, and I'm so glad God put me in her path. If God is calling you to step out of your comfort zone, whether it's going to another country, sponsoring a child, or talking to your neighbor about Jesus, listen to him. You won't regret it. Thank you.
Morning. The first day at lunch after our first day, Mama Lisa, who's the leader of the mission, she came marching right into me, pointing to Heather, and she said, "I just love her. She is so awesome." And I had originally planned on including in my pictures every time I looked up and saw Heather randomly dancing with some children or whoever, but we would have been here till about 2:30 for the numbers of times she was just dancing with the kids. So I was a part of a water tank crew in the mornings and a roofing team in the afternoons. El agua es vida, water is life. In Santa Maria de Jesus, the water is turned on just twice a week. In those days, you don't know when it's going to turn on or if it'll be that day. So an adult has to stay home from work or a child has to stay home from school. This water would be your cooking, your washing, your drinking. Some homes have pipes, others don't. So they don't have pipes. You either have to go to a spigot to carry it, or you have to rely on rainwater. They store it in buckets, jars, barrels, any open container they can find. I want you to consider going home and finding some buckets and filling them up. Put them in your garage for about a week, and then after that week, use that for your water source for the day, for everything. I'll do the clicker on mine. The water tanks are Tinacos. They hold 200 gallons of water. They're lined with antimicrobial surface to prevent bacteria and algae. And the homes with water pipes, they can have them set up so there's a shutoff valve so you don't have to stay home. Our crew is Dave, Maureen, and then our guide Hilda on the right. Usually we have like at least one male Guatemalan helper and a female Guatemalan helper and a bunch of kids. This year we just had us and our one Directiva guide, and that's because the people had work. A lot of times they don't have work, so they're helping. The kids were in school, so they weren't able to help us. So it was a good, bad thing. Usually for me, one of the carpenters that we use is the dad of one of our sponsor daughters. And these past few years, Willie's been on my team, so I've been able to serve with Willie, which has just been such an honor and a privilege for me. Willie wasn't on my team, but it was because they had so much work in the carpentry shop that he couldn't get away. And so I was so excited about that. This is Juan Carlos. Hilda, our Directiva guide, this is her grandson. We noticed right away that Hilda just was not feeling good. She is the toughest lady you'll ever meet for those who have gone to Guatemala, and she just had pain on her face. As we would walk, she would start at the beginning. She was supposed to lead us, and by the end, she was in the back. I would be walking with her. And so Juan Carlos was our guide. Juan Carlos took us through the village to the homes we needed to be. He was always smiling. He would always carry the tool bag. He would not let me carry the tool bag. And he became our guide because his grandma wasn't feeling well. This is Alejandra. She was one of our sponsor daughters. This is the daughter of Willie the carpenter. Alejandra was with us most of the time this week. And when Gretchen first went to Guatemala, Alejandra chose Gretchen. Gretchen didn't choose her. Alejandra chose Gretchen. She was Gretchen's first friend. And again, she took over. She helped with Hilda. She led us. She helped with the communication. The more I spent with Alejandra this week, I saw a future Directiva. I saw the next generation right before me of the people that would be leading this mission. This is the grandma at the water tank we did, and her and Dave and Maureen were just going back and forth, laughing. They had no clue what each other was saying, but they were just going back and forth, having a grand old time. I'm not sure if Dave and Maureen wanted to take her with us or she wanted them to stay. But I was the one taking the picture, and I was actually the one that she liked the most. Wait for it. You'll see it right away. But even as much as she liked me, I'm telling you, her granddaughter, I was like the bee's knees for her granddaughter. This is after I gave her a couple toys. Throughout the day, it's like every water tank, it's different. It's placed in a different spot. This one was right next to the house. This one was kind of inside like a barn-like structure that they had. He had some cows. This home just had the whole inside the compound was just a beautiful garden full of trees. Dave, he couldn't even fit in the picture. He had to get down. And then sometime when you go, we literally had to push and pull and drag each other, up this hill. And Maureen had hold of Hilda and literally just drag her up there. And then sometimes our tanks were so far away we had to take a tuk-tuk. Oh, and by the way, that's little Emerson in the picture. And so if you don't know what a tuk-tuk is, imagine like a smart car sitting on top of like a three-wheeled motorcycle that's really souped up. And so Dave, Maureen, and I, we squeezed on the back bench together. And then Hilda and Juan Carlos, they sat on the front, and they were hanging on the edge of the driver's seat with them. And then somehow little Emerson, he got back on some shelf that I didn't even know there was a shelf back there, and he squeezed back in there. And so you're going full speed through the town on cobblestones, and there's speed bumps randomly, or you're on a dirt road. So this is us in the tuk-tuk. And so they are they're hanging on. I mean, sometimes when you go, there's not enough room, and some will duly stand, and they'll hang on the ends. I think Gretchen might have had to lay across some people before, Melanie and Carla maybe, in the past. For this home, we had to climb hundreds and hundreds of steps. And so again, imagine if you're having to collect water. So they have no pipes at the top of this hill. We had to stop at least once because there were so many stairs. So imagine carrying 40 pounds of water up and down the hill just so you have water. We were excited when we got to the top because it was the home of one of the veteran Moving Mountains people, Bart, who goes every year. He sponsored Carlos, one of the original gifts program. Like his number is like number 17. So he's one of the original gifts program sponsored children, and Bart's been his sponsor. So Carlos lives at this home with his sisters, and Carlos now teaches a middle school in their home. And that's what the gifts program can do. Altogether, there were 30 water tanks that were installed this year, and I have to tell you that the majority of them were funded by Living Waters families. And I just can't tell you how much that means. Just like I said, imagine, just go home and fill up some buckets. When it starts raining, use that for your water, and then just see how far it gets you. So imagine praying for rain, not so the crops will grow, but literally so your family has water. And then as soon as the rain starts, you have to decide when to start to pray that the rain will stop because your roof, that's a metal roof, is leaking everywhere. This home that we went to, as we walked in, there was a storm coming in. We could see it coming down off the mountain. And so we worked with the husband, and we got it up as fast as we could. And then literally it started pouring down rain, and we had to sit in one of their rooms. We were late getting back for the vans because we were so far out, and the rain was raining so hard. But they had just gotten a new roof. This compound actually had two families, so they got two roofs. So we joined with another crew in order to put up. And so like on this one you see, it's just a very simple structure. Like when you walk in, you have no idea what you're going to be doing. So this one is just some simple beams that were put up, and all you literally do is you just put them up. We don't do any nailing or anything. The families will take care of that after. So this is, when you get one like this, you think, okay, yeah, we're going to get in and out of here quick. And then some structures are more difficult. Look at the very top left. You see the Guatemalan balancing on the cinder blocks up top. And so we are not allowed to go on top of the roofs for safety reason, obviously. And so luckily they had the cinder blocks, but usually then the other braces are usually like a random log. They would be blessed to have like a 2x4. But how do you get to that? And so this poor guy was holding on for dear life, trying to get the pieces over to me so I could get them down and again put them up. And it's like, if you go across, even if you're tiny, you're not going to be supported. And a lot of times they'll have nails, but some families, they can't afford nails. So they'll find boards, they'll find rocks, they'll find pieces of cement. They will literally find whatever they can to put on top of the metal so it won't blow away. And I mean whatever you can find. At this house, this is one of the difficult ones. We were really tight, and I was trying, the husband just wasn't wanting to get up on the roof, which understandably, by what it is. So finally, I had to have Maureen and Dave and Hilda all hold the ladder as tight as they could, and I kind of balanced myself on the top step just so I could reach stuff off. but that was the only way we were going to get it done. And like with the water tanks, some homes we had to walk and walk and walk some more. Then this one was literally, it was on the hill, and it was literally built inside of a rocky ledge, this home. Like part of the times we didn't even need the ladder because we just climbed the rocks to get over to get to this stuff. This was my favorite roof. The young man in the front, he lives with his grandparents because his mom and dad were both killed in a car crash. And then through every single step, every moment, Grandpa was there helping us. If we took a piece off, Grandpa was there to grab it. If we needed a new piece, Grandpa came and grabbed it. It took a while. I got him. We bring extra safety gloves, so I finally got him to take my last pair of safety gloves. He had them on backwards, so that they're so all the tough part, so he wouldn't cut his hands, was on the back. Dave on our crew, he brings a Polaroid wherever he goes, and he takes Polaroid pictures to give to the families. This is him as he was trying to get Grandma and Grandpa to pose. He always has them fix their hair, and he was trying to get them to cuddle quite a bit. And like Heather said, at the end of each project, we pray for the families. So Maureen, she had a prayer in Spanish that she would read. And sometimes, you say that prayer and it's done. Sometimes they pray with us, a little bit in the background or add a little bit. But this one, when Maureen was done, Grandpa kept going. Grandpa prayed nonstop for 5 minutes after we were done. Even as our guide, every now and then would say, Amen. Amen. Grandpa kept going. El Señor Americanos, El Señor. And he wasn't praying that we gave him something. He prayed that God brought us to give them this roof. And it was just nonstop. And when you get in those moments, you just soak it in. Like Pastor said last week, when people were talking, you had no clue how long it had been. The only reason I knew how long he did was because I just put my phone down and I videoed it just so I could listen to it later. And like when you ever hear us talk, we talk about their prayers, and you have to go to hear it because you feel it as they talk to their God. At this home, as we were doing the project, we noticed there were like some painted scenes on one of the walls. We didn't understand it. It's just, we all do things. And so after you're done, they invite you in, and they have like water or a Gatorade for you, and they have some crackers or some cookies. And so as we came around the corner to go in the house, this is what we saw. Phyllis, sorry, I'm not going to say this right, but cada familia tiene una historia. Bienvenidos a la nuestra. Every family has a story. Welcome to ours. So all these scenes were different parts of their life that they had. Sorry, I'm going to take a quick drink. This year was really difficult for me going without Gretchen. This was the longest we had been apart since we met on a blind date almost 31 years ago. But I was able to survive because I was with my sisters, Melanie and Heather, our group, just the different people. But I survived because of our family in Santa. This is Ismael and Victor. We just started sponsoring them after last year's trip. Along with their sister, they live with their grandma, who's in the picture, and their grandpa. Last year, Gretchen's team had helped build a bunk bed for them, and they found out that their dad had hung himself in the exact same room that they put the bunk bed in. He'd hung himself because Mom had left the family. Grandma and Grandpa, they also support their other son's wife and children because their son also left the family. Grandma came to see me. I saw the boys at one point, and then Grandma came to see me later. She was working in the community center. Part of in the gifts program, the family helps out too. So she was helping in the community center the one day. And I just, the boys are now in school. Their sister always has a good smile. But like Gretchen was, with them like in VBS, and the boys still just had this look, this pain look. But they did seem a little better, so hopefully each year they will heal more and more. This is our other sponsor daughter, Allison, and her family. Allison grows taller and taller every single time we see her. She wants to be a nurse. Her dad is a mason, and her mom weaves at home. And then during the snap pea season, a couple times a week, they get a giant bag about this big full of snap peas that have been plucked from the garden. And they have to pull the top off and pull out the vein. And they do this from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. a couple times a week, the entire family, grandma too. And so Allison, she goes to school from 6 to 10. So she'll go from school to 6 to 10 at night and then stay up and help this with her family. A fact that I did not know, but Guatemala is the world's largest exporter of snap peas. That's Allison's family again, and for obvious reasons, this was my favorite water tank this year. When you give family this safe place for their water, it's when you really let it sink in, it's so powerful. But when it's your family, it's even different. It takes it up a notch. When we walked in, like I've been to their home before, I wasn't paying attention, so I didn't realize we were walking into their compound. And then I saw Allison's mom and Alejandra, our other sponsor daughter who was with us, I said to her, Allison, and she said, "See." Our two girls, like I said, we sponsored two families. We sponsored them the same year. There was always like a tension. If the families got together, there's always that tension, Like I have a brother and sister, I love them the same. I have two daughters, I love them the same. And you try to explain this to them, but there's always this tension like, oh, there's that other family, there's that other family. This time it seemed different. And like I said, Alejandra was excited, that we were in Allison's home. Alejandra helped me build the stand that the water tank went on for the other one. It just seemed like, okay, we're older now, we get it. You love us both. Oh, I'm sorry. Phyllis, C means yes. Yeah. This is Alejandra and her family outside their home. They live above the carpenter shop, and they have the most beautiful view. It's just amazing. And again, Willie, he builds the bunk beds. Alejandra also wants to be a nurse, and their entire family is involved at the community center helping. Now, while I don't officially have a baby named after me like Melanie, this is little William sitting on the mattresses that go on the bunk beds, and his mom, Evelyn, jokingly calls him Baby Tim whenever we visit. Now, I wasn't quite sure, but after I really looked at the picture, I realized that that's what my hair would look like if I didn't purposely thin it out like this. So kind of like, everybody called me Mo, so I thinned out my hair. Heather and I, we stayed an extra day after the mission week was done, and we volunteered at Cosa Chando, Felicidad, helping Brittany. We helped serve and deliver meals. We made home visits. We got to visit a couple of the abuelos that are pen pals. And Heather, of course, she was coloring with the abuelos like crazy, coloring and helping them color. We'd already planned on visiting Alejandra and her family, but instead we got invited to a birthday party of Alejandra's 3-year-old cousin. Heather, I didn't include the video, so don't worry. But I will tell the story. So we're all crammed in this room. Like, you see all those people? There were more people there than that in this family. So you have a balloon, and there's music playing, and it's just, it's like as it spins around, and if the balloon stops on you when the music stops, then you have to either sing a song, tell a joke, or you have to dance. And so when it came to Heather, she shocked us all by singing a song in Spanish. Even Brenny and our friend Ashley, who's one of the translators, Ashley's jaw just dropped as Heather just sang this entire song in Spanish. And like I said, this is just part of Alejandra's extended family. Their family includes the 3 brothers that are the carpenters that build everything for the mission. Of the 7 Directiva ladies that go out and manage this project, 2 sisters and a sister-in-law from that family are part of the 7. And then every year, as we see other people we recognize that are friends, we realize they're part of this family too. And we see all these kids, and I see some future Directiva. So this one family is doing whatever it can to help Santa Maria. And I'm telling you, they are just as needy as the people that they serve. This was the Moving Mountains team for 2024. And if you're thinking about possibly wanting to be a part of 2025, 2026, beyond, please let Gretchen and I know. I know there's some groups that have already contacted Mama Lisa did before last year, so I'm not sure how many spots for new volunteers there will be this year. So if you're even just thinking about it, please reach out to Gretchen and I, so when the application does go out, we can make sure you have a chance. Heather was the 18th different volunteer from Living Waters to help move mountains. Who would like to be number 19? Over our 7 trips, we have sent 57 total volunteers. 2 years, we had 13 people from Living Waters that went on this trip. And I also want to remind you that you don't have to go to Guatemala to share the love of Jesus. This week right now, Marian Medical Mission and another MMM, they're working on their clean water well season in Africa. Living Waters has sent 3 teams, including Bob, Kay twice, and Wayne. Pam has traveled to the Dominican Republic multiple times. Paul and Samitha led a team to India, which helped get Gretchen and I here at Living Waters. We came and visited just to hear about their trip to India, which did not work out. And this is a true story that Paul knows and Pastor knows. When we decided we couldn't go to India, I had emailed Paul and more or less just said, not my time, not my decision, but God's time. When he decides when and where, Gretchen and I are ready. And 2 years to the day from that email, we found out that we were going to be on the exact same plane with Paul and Samitha going to Guatemala for the first time. To the day. And you don't just have to go overseas either. We go to Midwest Food Bank, which is just a few blocks away, a few times a year. And if you haven't gone, I'm telling you, sign up. You talk about intergenerational that you can do together, the younger kids, the older people. It's just amazing. For those that heard Melinda Merce here talk a few weeks ago, I'm excited to see when there will be a group that goes to California to work with her mission. And when you were talking, Pastor, there was something I was going to say, but I totally blanked out. I forgot. So if I think about it, I'll tell you later. But I don't think I listen to pastor's sermons ever because we're supposed to, as missionaries, I say this every year, we're supposed to share the love of Jesus with others, and I receive more every single year. So if you're lost and you're needing the love of Jesus, go on a trip because he's going to show you how to share it, and you're going to receive so much more. So again, thank you for all your help and all your support, whether you give clothes, whether you give money, buy a raffle ticket. Your prayers are so big. I personally am excited to see who number 19 will be. But so many have gone. Emerson and Carla have gone every single year Living Waters has gone, all 7 years. And so I'm excited to see, who you're going to call next because it was so much fun watching Heather this year. So thank you.